The only thing I'll warn you on is sometimes like make sure to mute the volume on that because there's going to be a delay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
this is
let's see.
kind of new
Is it
for me.
coming
So
on?
I'm just going to look at the chat. I'm not going to look at what.
Okay. So we're live.
Up, I guess.
All right, brother. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and just monitor it as well.
Oh, shoot.
Did it not go live?
No.
We're live. No,
Sorry,
we're live.
you're right.
We are. Yeah, you're going to. Whenever I had Chuck on one time, we did some live breath work, and I didn't realize this at the time. So it kept on looping, and and it was just like every time I did, I would add another word or I'd say something. So it would sound like a Tom Waits song before it was all said and done.
Oh, remix.
Yeah. But hey, everybody, welcome to today's live. I am here with Miles Lukas. This is going to be a really fun conversation. If you are familiar with the recent documentary DMT Quest, Miles was featured on this. He had electrodes, attached to his head, testing his brain. They determined he had one, and that was just a win right there, right? So I need to get that test done just to make sure, just to, double check. But anyway, we're just gonna have a conversation today. If you guys have questions, you want to join in, go right ahead. But today we're going to be talking about, first of all, DMT. Kind of, I'm curious about it. It's something that, when it comes to breath work, there's a lot of altered state techniques out there, and of course, the one that you and I share, we learned from Wim Hof himself, and just really incredible. I remember whenever I was in my masterclass training, one time we were out in the Colorado Rocky Mountains, and did you train in the Rocky Mountain, or were you guys in Washington?
I was in the Oregon crew. Yeah,
Oregon. Okay, crew. So that was third class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, thank you for having me on, and welcome to San Diego.
so and then really there couldn't be any different. A lot of times I just go on and on. Yeah. But anyway, so I'm so glad to have you, Miles. Actually, for those of you guys who are watching, Miles, I've been trying to get any kind of excuse to work with Miles because he's so much fun, and we've got this. I wish I could show them our conversations via the Facebook Messenger. Just like it gets ridiculous, but
yeah, that's the funnest.
But anyway, so I remember a lot of times, and actually even just recently, I was kind of just going through a funk, and used breath work to really just go into that altered state and just come out of it. But I want to ask you, just kind of start off, of course I watched the documentary, just really enjoyed it. How did you get involved? What was your link to that? And how did they say, hey, Miles, you like to breathe,
Yeah.
How did that all start?
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. So John Chavez is the producer, and he's had a couple of books about DMT, Questions for the Lion Tamer, and he's just a big science nerd when it comes to that, or at least I thought that he was a science nerd when I ran into him on the Wim Hof forums. He would just post links to studies and give you no explanation. And so it was like, he was almost like giving you homework. Yeah. And it used to like sort of make me mad. And I would, type back like, well, what's this all about? And then he would type back something. And so we would go back and forth. And I thought, this science nerd is pretty awesome.
And I love the science nerds.
Yeah. And so I just really enjoyed talking to him online. And then it turned out he was in the Bay Area. And I used to live in the Bay Area for a decade, and I would go up there for workshops. And so I blasted him up one time when I was doing a workshop, and he ended up coming to the workshop, which was awesome.
Oh, great!
And I got to meet him, and he wasn't a science nerd, and he was actually we were like the same age, and he was just super cool, and we grew up listening to the same rap albums and stuff.
Okay. Pause. You mentioned rap albums. Which rap albums are we talking about?
Oh man, I mean, I started with like NWA, Beastie Boys, Ice Cube, and then
nice, right, nice. Okay, Continue.
so how about you? It's
Same here.
Similar
Beastie
story.
Boys, I'm telling you, Beastie Boys is like, there's part of my DNA that is, you know, they have the solfeggio tones and things like that bring you to different kinds of happiness and whatever. For me, it's Beastie Boys. If I listen to Beastie Boys, I'm like just happy and I just love it. But yeah, I was big into, you know, back, you know, in the what was it, Death Row Records. Basically, if it was on Death Row Records, I was listening to it back in the 90s. But Beastie Boys, I mean, I'm just saying that right there is just, I still listen to it pretty regularly today. I do a lot of breath work too. Beastie. I'll do breath work to the Five Boroughs, that specific album.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love, and actually yesterday morning, I just popped that on and just really went deep into breath work. And I'm just saying, I think everybody's got their thing, right?
Yeah.
For me, with the Beastie Boys,
I've never heard of anyone doing breath work to Beastie Boys. That's awesome.
You should try it.
Hey, I'm gonna move my curtain real quick.
Yeah. Take your time. So yeah, as Miles is doing some set changes, guys, if you have any questions for Miles or just in general comments, anything like that, you can always chime in as well. But anyway, and I'm famous for derailing my own train of thought. So I'm sorry for derailing yours, but that's there's some things that are important enough that you have
the Beastie Boys.
Like, okay, what rap albums were you listening to? Good. All right. Because we're pretty much the same age. And so we were coming up in the 90s. So, okay. I think
mine was Ice Cube. Ice Cube did it to me. I haven't put him into my breathwork classes yet. But
I wouldn't. I don't know if I would put other people in. That would be awesome. It's like, okay, guys, relax your muscles, relax your mind, come aware of your breathing.
That's right.
And then here comes Ice Cube.
There's some great lyrics we can put in there.
I didn't even have to use my AK. You know, I gotta say it was a good day. All right, in and
that's a whole different class. I can't wait for that class.
That's gonna happen.
So John came to all my stuff, and then we started. I saw him at the 1,000 person workshop, and and that was wild. I got to meet him for the first time.
San Jose.
Yeah, in San Jose. Remember where we met? Yeah.
Okay.
And it was wild because I didn't recognize him because I'd never met him really maybe that was the first time he came to my workshop after that. So that was the first time I'd met him face to face. And I was just blown away of how similar we were and like how not a science nerd he, portrayed himself as. I mean, he's just awesome. And so yeah, we just stayed in touch. And then he said, we got to know what's going on with your brainwaves. And we just started texting each other. He was like, man, you need to come up here and we're gonna get it done. And
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, we did it. And we learned a ton. I mean, not only, what you see in the documentary is amazing. What we discovered was, I hope is the start of bigger things.
Right.
But then I also learned a ton of stuff about brainwaves in general.
Yeah.
And a big surprise to me was that I had a lot of deficiencies. Probably not a surprise to my wife and kids. And
we all do, right? I think that's so important to find out, right? And oftentimes whenever we really make these positive changes in our lives, or we're doing things that, hey, yeah, I must be doing everything right? And hey, it's not like you're doing stuff wrong, but there's times whenever it's like, even though a person might be doing everything right, it's like, oh, well, there's this little thing that I didn't notice. So
nobody's perfect.
Exactly. And what would you say? So tell us about that. What is
I mean, I learned a lot of stuff. I learned that I had significant memory and focus deficiencies. And then my mom was like, oh yeah, you had ADHD when you were a kid. I was like, what? Oh, yeah. Why didn't you? She was like, well, I didn't want to put you on any drugs or anything. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess she was like, I did tell you. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. I have bad memory and focus issues. Yeah. So
how do you even find that out through tests? Like what kind of tests did they do to find that information?
Well, it's all in the EEG. So you can look at the EEG. They can see what you are, what we did in the documentary is you do 2 sessions before we did the breath work. So you do 5 minutes with your eyes open and you do 5 minutes with your eyes closed. And I was just reviewing them yesterday, and the difference between eyes open and eyes closed is quite significant. So, and they could even tell you if you were darting your eyes, or this is with your eyes closed, if you're darting your eyes around too much, or if you're clenching your jaw, or anything, like if you felt kind of nervous, they could tell you that, and they could say, hey, you're kind of clenching your jaw, you need to, whatever, calm down a little bit. And that was fascinating. Yeah. And so that really led me to understand and sort of believe, well, how about this music? Does music, have that much of effect on you? Yeah. Well, of course we know it does, but no, it has all these little tiny things that we don't seem to think that they have a big impact, have probably a gigantic impact. And so that's what I learned from that. And then we did the breath work. I did 10 minutes regular Wim Hof style, gets me kind of loopy and feeling good. And then 10 minutes power breathing, more advanced Wim Hof style. And that gets me razor sharp and just like floating. I did some before we got on today, and it just, I can feel the real indication to me is your nervous system gets on fire, and I can feel literally shock waves down my arms after I'm done, And then so when I was done, and then they did another eyes closed first, I think, because my eyes were already closed, and then eyes open. And I had prepared for this by horse dance in the yard most days, and tried to cut out the drinking and cut out everything, started kind of ate as clean as I do. That's not that clean, but I really prepared for this. Yeah. So by the time the 20 minutes was over, it was one of the best sessions I had done, because I focused so hard on it.
That's great, because I would hate it if I went there and I was like, guys, I can do better. Nope. All right, that's the only,
No, it was it was really good. I mean, I was like seeing the Eye of Mordor and everything.
Oh,
I mean, it was like it really worked. And it always does. If you just follow the steps, it's gonna work. That's what's so awesome about it. Right. Even if you're 2 minutes into it and you're like, don't really feel like doing it, you cross the threshold and it starts zapping you, and it starts
there is that aspect of it, isn't there? Because there are some days whenever it's just like, it's not gonna work. No. And then that's where I was like, okay, well, I'm at least gonna do 3 rounds. And by the time I get to halfway through the second round, I'm like, there it is. Oh yeah. So 10 minutes of Wim Hof method style, the regular protocol, and then 10 minutes power breathing. And did they, and so they sit you down, and in the video I saw, they had the little thing over your
So they gel up your hair. They put this weird, they put they put all this goofy gel in your hair. Yeah. Oh, no, they put the mask on first, then they inject the gel into the sensors, and then we work on getting a good reading, and they got a really good reading. I was able to stay quite still. I was in a kind of like a dentist style chair.
I noticed that,
not necessarily comfortable.
For breath work, it was kind of a recliner almost. It was
it was weird. And I even asked them, like, can I put this chair back a little bit? They were like, no. Okay.
No, you may not.
Our original plan was to use the Wim Hof online guided breath work. Okay. So that we could say,
there was
this is
standardized,
what we did, and this is, you could see. Yeah. And but then we kind of decided, well, let's not have any outside influences whatsoever. Because I said, I'm like, okay, if we're not going to do that, let me throw some jams on, let me throw on my ice cube and think it was a good day. And he was like, nope, we're not having any outside influences. So you're going to sit there in the chair, bright lights on, camera crew, and just do the breath work in front of us while we stare at you. I'm like, oh, okay. I think we talked before that I've had a similar experience when I was using the breath work for jiu-jitsu competition. I went and did it at a mall where everyone could watch me, and I made it uncomfortable. Have you?
Yeah, I've told this story to other people. I was like, well, you could always do what Miles Lukas did, right? I've literally, that's the story that I tell now, because people a lot of times they'll say, I feel kind of weird, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, you don't have to go out and do it in front of people, but I know this guy, right? And that's how it starts. But yeah, you basically, you went to the local mall and you did your breath work as people were walking around with, just around you, right? And you just kind
hated me. They hated me.
Yeah.
They were very mad.
And they were probably really weirded out. But you did that. And what was the whole purpose behind that? The whole purpose behind it?
Well, because I used to have incredible competition anxiety.
Yeah.
It was debilitating. It was just uncomfortable. Like I would just get it whenever I signed up for a competition, and I just felt butterflies in my stomach and felt sick, and I hated it. And I thought, if I knew the Wim Hof stuff was working, but was I going to be able to? Was it going to work in the heat of battle, when the events that we do, they have speakers that go up to the ceiling, and there's thundering music and lights, and the stage is 4 or 5 feet off the ground, and so I wasn't sure if it would really work at that moment, so I had to go train like Rocky and figure out, like, I thought about a few different ways. I was like, I can go to somewhere really busy, like a busy Times Square kind of thing, but I'm like, nah, nobody will pay attention to me, they won't care. Like, I need to go somewhere where it's like not busy enough and out of the element of what I'm doing, that people will care, and that I will care about them caring, and then I will still get out of
a place where families go and they don't expect a weirdo.
They had to walk around me. People had to look at me and be like, "Ugh," and then had to like walk around me. Yeah,
I think that's just a training all in and into itself, right? I mean, you're getting the Wim Hof method breathwork benefits, but I mean, at the same time, you're really training yourself not to care. But
that's what happens. We get out of the prefrontal cortex. We stop becoming emotionally attached to whatever's going on. We stop caring. And it's so awesome.
And so let's talk a little bit about what you learned about brainwaves. I'm really curious. They did talk a little bit about all the different levels of brainwaves, and then especially gamma, which is the one that
big time. Well, so I learned. I mean, I'm a few standard deviations below average as far as like remembering faces and names. They showed me that. I was like, oh my god, that's that is why I it's been a problem for me for a lot of my life, after you do the breath work, after you fire yourself up, I mean, you are lighting connections all over. So now, not only did I get to average, well, I'm 2 standard deviations above average as far as memory and focus. So we're talking about, like, you can do this stuff and get in a gamma state for sure. I mean, if you saw the pictures of the of the analysis, it's like fire, like literally everything is on fire and things are moving and theta's high and creativity is high and all this stuff. And so we really sort of guessed that that's what was happening. It just felt like that, you and I,
like
after
that,
you do it, it feels like that's what's happening. But
you're like, well, for some reason, I feel like I can focus. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because we had to go based on our intuition, right? For a long time, it's like, this is what I think is happening. And then
exactly.
Now you went into the laboratory and we're actually seeing that 2 standard deviations better than average after being 2 standard deviations lower.
I think I was like, I think at some places I was 2 below, but I was like I was slightly below average. And then, and I am no doctor or professional reader of these brainwaves.
Well, sure.
So I'm just giving you my sort of take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is amazing that you've experienced this. It's a really cool experience to have gone through.
I love what somebody described it the best at one of my last classes. I do classes in the Japanese Friendship Garden in downtown San Diego, in the heart of the city. They've carved out a museum style garden, and for some reason, some luck, some cast down upon me, I'm able to use that place before it opens. And so we have this entire place that looks like we're in The Last Samurai, that's completely groomed, that has like roaring waterfalls. And I showed somebody, I love showing people the breath work for the first time. And I showed them the breath work for the first time the other day. And she said, she popped back up. She was like, everything kind of went into HD.
I like that.
That's what happens. Yeah.
That's so true. Well, I've even had some people and everyone has a different experience with it, but you know, you have people that will even say, you know, is this good for your eyesight, or you know, or things like that. And I'm like, well, you know, we're still learning. We're still learning a lot, but
we are still learning.
And that's what's fascinating about it, right? We are on this bleeding edge, this frontier right now with breath work, just across the board. You know, and it's weird because it's something that, you know, you go back thousands of years and it's in the Vedas. Hey, there's all these, you know, yogis that were figuring this out a long time ago. We're kind of just catching up. Sure. But what we have now, it's so weird, right? But what we have now, at least, is the access to, you know, the technology that says, okay, what exactly is happening in the brain, and you know, where are you going with this? Now when it comes to your experience there, like when you do altered state breath work, when you did altered state breath work in the chair, how was that experience that day?
How's that experience? I mean, it was, again, to me, this stuff is very mechanical, and and I'm kind of precise about it too. I do it a lot. My core is pretty strong, so that I can you know, sort of continuously do this without much. Not that it's not doesn't require effort, but I'm very used to it. Sure, and I do. I can't. I rarely skip a day of breath work, and I do a few different exercises to sort of open it up. I don't know if you tried the samurai steps to infinity breath work thing that I created online. That little the diaphragm control assessment. So that one's pretty cool. I do that one every day. It's box breathing that goes up one every in breath. So you start at 3, you go 4, you go 5, you go 6.
Right. And okay. So, and we're, you know, I tell you what, I will link that in the description.
Yeah, it's fun.
After this, so that everybody can do that, because that is really kind of cool. And it's basic. It's just a box. It's not like it's you on the screen, right? It's
no.
As I recall, it's kind
like
of
loading bars.
And it just, it's like, kind of like the game of Snake. It gets bigger and bigger as you continue to go.
It's such a fun, it's like a breathwork game. And if you make it to 10, it takes less than 5 minutes to make it to 10. If you make it to 10, you're going to start to feel a pretty strong CO2 buildup. And if you make it to 13, you're probably going to start hallucinating. And if you make it to 15, then you know, you're really good at your CO2 tolerance. And,
well, and that's something where, you know, it's like I always say, you know, breath work is focus work. And whenever it comes down to it, I mean, yes, there are techniques, and a lot of things are very, if you just do it like this, you're going to get this type of result there, you know, to a certain degree. But whenever you're really getting into breath work, there's an enormous amount of focus, and it's with the diaphragm and your breathing muscles. You know, it's often something we don't even think about, we don't even focus on. So to take it through that, okay, now we're going to start to slow down. Now we're slowing down even more. And how far is a full breath if you have to space it out, like you said, like to 10 seconds, a 10-second full breath versus a 5-second. You know, you might start normally with box breathing, you start with 4, like a 4-second inhale, 4-second hold. But okay, now take that same muscle, and that you just did it in 4, but now you're going to do it in 10. Now you're going to do it in 12.
10 feels hard. And you'll notice if you do this a couple of days in a row, I just noticed this myself. I was breathing super slow when I was like doing something. I realized, whoa, wait a minute. Something's happening. Like I'm connecting a little bit closer. To the whole thing.
You're building that mind-body connection. It's like, you know, whenever like a baby, you know, they've got their muscles and they kind of, you know, this like 100%, it's 100%, right?
They're all nervous system.
Exactly. And there's no nuance at all, right? And how can that arm and that hand that it is just like this, how can that eventually turn into the hand of a surgeon, or, you know, somebody who's a painter or something like that, right? And it all is the neuromuscular control that we develop from practice. And no, I'm going to link that in the description box below for everybody, because I think that is a really cool exercise. How did you we'll talk afterwards, because building some, that's a really cool graphic that you have on there too.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. You know what? I do all my own graphic design. I do After Effects and stuff. And so, yeah, I have to, I think it's time that I have to start like getting help now, because I just can't do it all myself, but I really like it. So all my event posters and all of the, you know, any of the
awesome.
YouTubes
I'm always so jealous. I'm like, here I am, you know, clicking, I'm like clicking away with Canva, right? I'm like, okay, let's see. The words will go over the picture. Done.
Yeah.
And then you've got
yours are pretty good.
Well, thank you.
20,000 subscribers, buddy. Good job, my brother.
Well, thank you, my friend. Yeah. We're growing here. It's a really cool tribe. That
Totally.
that is subscribing.
And you know what I think I'm going to start doing with my brand? I think with the breath fitness brand, it was always my idea is that that this stuff sort of incorporates so many different things. And I think I'm just going to start promoting everybody's stuff. I think that breath fitness would really just be, I saw what kind of inspired it is Soma breathing classes or whatever.
Yeah.
They posted, they gave a little description about Wim Hof stuff. And then it was on their Instagram. Then they gave one about like holotropic breathing. And I even learned stuff from their short posts. And I thought, man, that's really cool. That's kind of what I want to do too.
Well,
and so I think that's what's going to happen. Breath fitness is just I'll just incorporate everybody and let's just promote it together.
It's all about, you know, collaboration. And that's why I love having my friends on, and because it's always like, okay, so especially what you're doing, a lot of what you do, especially because of your love for jiu-jitsu, a lot of it is okay. It's really focused on that aspect, you know, and it's like, whoa, this is really cool. It's really helpful for a lot of people. And there's a lot of other things, you know, everybody can learn from you, but it's so cool to see in an emerging field, something that is actually just starting to bloom. Collaboration instead of people say, no, you know, because you see it in the fitness world and the diets and things like that. It's like, I'm the only way. This is, you got to do my thing. And I absolutely love that.
I kind of felt that way when we first started, honestly, because I just thought, you know, Wim Hof method opened our eyes to what this stuff is. And so we kind of felt like that was the best. And then other people come in with other things. And it wasn't until I started to learn more about it all. And then I eventually just realized, man, all this stuff works. All the breath work works. So it does do what you want it to do. Yeah. And even to quote JB Smooth, that shit's involuntary. We're Do you remember he has a little breathwork meditation?
I don't remember that particular one. I'm going to have to check that out.
You know how to breathe, don't you? That shit's involuntary. That's what he says.
I love
and he's right.
It's true. Well, and the thing is, it's like, I think so much, and this is stuff that I talk about in my book, and one of the biggest reasons why I was wanting to get into that is because there's so many people that I know and love who can benefit from breath work and who are just weirded out by
big time.
Right?
Yeah, big time.
And especially like today, I was telling you before we went on, it's a snow day here in Indiana. There's 6 inches of snow. I'm glad it's not 6 feet. 6 inches of snow out here. And you know, me and my son's home from school today. He's getting to watch cartoons right now while we're talking. It's a little awesome. Brain rotting time, but I think a little brain rot is probably good for you too. But you know, it's one of those things where I'll post something that is Wim Hof method related or cold training specific, right? And people are like, yeah, I don't really want to get into that. And I'm like, okay, I understand. I get it, you know, and but you have this capacity to influence your whole system. And you're doing it right now, whether you like it or not, right? You know, if you're having if you have an erratic breathing habit right now, or if you have, you know, improper breathing mechanics, you're doing it, you know, and
no kidding.
And especially like think about martial arts, man, how important it is. I mean, to be mindful of your breathing.
Can I share something so cool that's happening right now?
Absolutely.
So with the Hickson breathing style, which is essentially the opposite of Wim's. So with Wim, we breathe all the way in, you let go, you get yourself to about a neutral zone, about 60% above if you're sitting up, and then but you have that 40% below. Well, what's going on there? Well, Hickson focuses on that. And I've seen it too. He's talked about animals, dogs, when they're running, you can look at them. And I've actually slow-mo videoed my dog while I'm on a skateboard and watched him running.
Yeah.
And with the sprints, it's exhales every time. So and he just promotes exhales for everything. Anything you're doing, anytime you're exerting, you do an exhale, and you even clench your jaw, push through your teeth, and get connected, because he says that your jaw is connected to the lowest part of your diaphragm. So your listeners, anyone who's listening, you could throw a hand below your belly button and then just go and you can start to feel the lowest part of your diaphragm connect. You can keep walking down and just feel the bottom. Yeah. It's so cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I started using it with, we've been practicing a lot of axe and knife throwing. And I started, I take a couple of breaths. I hold my breath and then, and I swear to get we stand at different locations, and to get a triple rotation from about like, I think it's like 30 feet away. It's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to hit. But when I started incorporating that, I started getting it way better, and it feels better. And I thought, man, this is so cool. And so that's kind of my, my favorite new thing to do is I tried it in horseshoes the other day. I was banging ringers out. Yeah. It was like, it was really cool.
That is awesome.
Something you guys can try.
Yeah. I got this quick sidebar.
Sure.
With throwing axes and knives. Is that something you do in your backyard, or you do that? You have a place you go to, or how's that work? Okay.
Well, we started, there's a brewery around here that has an axe throwing place.
Beer and sharp objects. Dude, this is why it's too bad we don't have the capacity to physically hang out.
That's right.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, it's the best. They've toned it down a little bit, but they used to let you bring whatever you wanted. So you could bring shovels. You could get the biggest axe you could buy.
You could throw a shovel?
Yes. You could get the biggest axe you could buy at Home Depot, and then just two-handed go there and just take your day out on that thing. Yeah, they were so awesome. But so they've toned it down. You can't do that anymore. Yeah, I know.
I've got to do that. I'm going to bring that to the Midwest. I'm going to find a place.
It is so fun. Man.
I mean, I feel like the Midwest is made for a place like, we got plenty of
I came from the Midwest
trees and stuff like that, right?
I came from the Midwest. I know.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. St. Louis. Yeah. We're Midwest brothers.
Midwest brothers. And then you just, that's right. And not to mention a little Nelly, right? Nelly.
Oh man, of course.
So, I mean, just bringing it back to St. Louis, man, I forgot about Nelly, I didn't forget about Dre.
Who else?
Because you can't forget about Dre, but
no,
at least that's
there's lots of
Eminem tells me, but
there's lots of great, great people out of St. Louis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome. Nikki Glazer, I just found out, is from my high school.
The
comedian. Yeah, she's a monster on the roast battles. St. Louis got it going on. Thanks, guys.
I have never, I live actually not too far, probably about 2 hours away from St. Louis. I need to get over there and do workshops or something.
Come on. I got one coming up in
St. Louis?
January, February, March. In March. I'll be in St. Louis in March.
Okay.
Yeah. Come join me.
Let me see what's going on. Do you know the dates? We can promote it right now.
We'll figure it out. The 21st. It's a Sunday.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
As of now,
Head Nog Jiu-Jitsu.
I believe
Head Nog headquarters.
I believe I am free on that date.
Oh, brother, come on out and have some fun.
Yes. Yeah. That is awesome. So
some jiu-jitsu beforehand.
Oh my God.
Like the day before.
I have not been on a mat in a year and a half.
Oh man.
It is sad. It is so sad.
That is sad.
So what happened was I got this injury, which I think is going to be sort of permanent. We were doing takedowns and a knee fell right here, and it was stronger than that part of my finger. And then, so I kept on, of course, I kept on rolling. I kept on going, and I just kind of taped it up. It was, I have like, it's basically like, the problem was I broke it, but I didn't realize I broke it. I should have just gone to the doctor that day, and got an X-ray. Right. But I was like, no, man, it's cool. Like, look, I can still move it. It's awesome. And so I waited like 2 weeks. I kept on rolling, kept on going.
It happens.
And it didn't get any better. And eventually I was like, oh crap. Okay, let's see what this is. And then
They might have just stuck a splint on it. They might have not have done anything to it. Because I mean, I've broken before too. Yeah,
possibly. But what the thing is, though, I am, young Padawan to your Jedi master when it comes to jujitsu anyway. And so, I mean, when they make a white belt, I mean, it's almost clear whenever they give it to me. And so I'm just saying, I have a white belt, and it's bleach white. And so I have a habit of and I was getting better at it, but you know how rookies will over muscle things, right? And
sure,
and so
of course.
and so it was just one of those things where it's like, I know that I need to, I feel like in my mind I need to constantly be active, as opposed, all the things that intellectually I understand before and after the role. I know what I should be doing or shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like,
it's such a great test.
It is. And there would be days that I would tap people that were far more, advanced. And I was like, but most days, most days, not so much. But anyway, I injured myself, and then I got really busy, and then COVID happened, and then I just haven't been back. Actually, I should go back, but it's just one of those things where, anyway, eventually
we'll get you back. We'll get you back on the,
you have to, either way, it's a great way for us to connect, is for you to put me into some kind of a, folded position. Just say, hey, how's it going?
Meet me at, I'm meeting you at the in San Jose. Yeah, you're a pretty strong fella, and I saw one of your last videos, and you're looking good, man. You're looking slim, and you got a pretty strong frame, and so I think you'd be hard to take down and move around.
Well,
so I'm excited. Sometimes
it's easy when you know what you're doing, And I remember when the very first time I went, it was like maybe my second time I went to jiu-jitsu. And it was a night class, and there was just me, and there was this girl who was like maybe 110 pounds. She was a blue belt. And here I was on my second. Oh my God. It was the most humbling experience of my life. Yeah. Here I was, I was like, and so there was just the two of us, and the coach was like, hey, you know what? This'll see if you're going to stick with me or not, Why don't you try to roll? And I was like,
she's a wimp. Yeah, no way. I'm gonna hurt her.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt. I'm gonna go easy. Well, before I could even finish, I'm gonna go easy on you. I was just tapping. So anyway, okay, let's get back. I want to talk a little bit more before we have to get out of here about DMT experiences. And for those of you guys who stuck around for more of this kind of talk, I want to give you some chat about this, because I do get a lot of questions about my experiences with altered state, right? And this would be in that category. Did you ever, whenever you're younger, or even not whenever you're younger, have you ever used psychedelics like recreationally or any other possible way?
Yes.
So what kind of stuff did you do? Yeah. What kind of experiences did you have with it? What was your take on that?
Most of the experiences were when I was younger, so it was never really, I've never really done it in a way, an analytical way. It was more like, there were more in probably the worst ways to do it, which is just like, you're just partying and whatever, and you're just trying crazy stuff.
Right.
But I don't do that anymore. I have kids and
right. Yeah.
I just don't need to do that anymore. And this stuff gets you so, it's like you can turn it on and off, where the psychedelics sort of they hang around, and even like edible cannabis kind of hangs around sometimes longer than you want it to. But but the breath work doesn't. So it's they're very similar states as far as the visual and the I would say the physical sensations of the breath work are better than the physical sensations that you get from like mushrooms or something like that. Since
I would make that argument,
you're slightly poisoning yourself.
Yeah, I would make that argument too. I did an enormous amount of psychedelics whenever I was younger. It's probably why I am still a child in my mind. I probably stunted all development. But back in the 90s, at least in the Midwest, LSD was incredibly prevalent. Magic mushrooms were everywhere. And
For sure.
and as much as you know, I look back and it's one of those things where, um, you know, as much as I felt like I was seeking truths, I mean, I really did try at the time because
Did you?
I was super into the Doors and I was super into like
Yeah.
shamanism and all this
Yeah.
stuff.
You were
But
a rock star.
I honestly was,
Yeah.
I kind of was a rock star at the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, I was playing music all the time and I was trying to use it in a way that would make it me more creative. Now, I did have my share of, I'm at this party and I've forgotten how humans got, you know, it just, you know how it was like, what
Yeah.
am I? What is this?
Oh my God.
I guess this is what humans do. Yes. You know, all these strange things that you have during these psychedelic trips. But I would agree with you as far as, um, first of all, I love, and of course I decided to stop doing that a long time ago. And I don't think I want to ever experiment with that again personally. Every now and then I will see a thing about, you know, DMT, and I'll see something about, you know, people doing ayahuasca or something like that. And I'll be like, maybe I'll try it someday, or maybe I'll
I
do
mean, I
mushrooms
think
again
it's,
someday.
yeah, I think it's really good for people. I think
Yeah.
one of the things that why it's so good for people is that it's just you get your synapses firing again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this life that we lead and this these lines that we're put in that we have to follow,
Yeah.
the synapses just start to deteriorate, right? Like our
Right.
interoceptive connections start to deteriorate. A lot of people can't sit and feel their own heartbeat, without putting their hand
Right.
on their chest. They can't just
Right.
sense their heartbeat. And you got to start waking them up. To me, one of the things, it's physically and mentally. So
Yeah.
one time I was doing jiu-jitsu, I tore the webbing of my feet. And while that was super gross and crazy,
Yeah. It's
the crazy
painful.
part to me was I didn't feel it. I didn't even feel it. Somebody had to say,
Yeah.
"Hey, look at your feet." And I
Right.
was like, "Oh my God." And I thought, man, that is crazy. Like I've been ignoring my feet because obviously they're not sensitive enough anymore to realize that.
Yeah.
So I started to pay a ton more attention to my feet, and I do, like, every day. I'll do just a tiny bit of exercises with my toes, and I think that we've got to do that all over. So we got to do that with our minds, and I think depression and these things that these mental states that people get in that they can't get themselves out of, it's just like a numbing, like they haven't used it in a long time. They haven't felt that good juice. And so if
Yeah.
psychedelics break through and do that for them, then that's awesome. If breathwork does it, then that's awesome too. But
Yeah.
that's all it is. It's just like awakening, a real awakening of these of this data that's already there. The data's there, but our minds just aren't connected. They haven't made the synapse connections to this data.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's why they're
And
good.
I think the beautiful thing about doing it with breath work, and yeah, you know, like I said, I sometimes think about doing these other things again. I personally, I don't think they're necessarily for me, but the beautiful thing about doing it with breath work is that it is pretty fast. You're not stuck for 8 hours in a, you know, in a trip,
Yeah.
and, you know, and
Totally.
that's a huge thing, right? And for
Yeah.
a person to say, okay, am I going to dedicate this full day? Now, there might be a value in being in that state for that long,
Yeah.
and I don't want to
Sure.
take anything away from that. But you know, for instance, I can say, okay, this morning, even though I know I have an enormous amount of things I need to do today, and I have, you know, responsibilities, I've got a problem that I need to break out. I need to interrupt. Is I always like to think of it as an interrupter
Okay.
to the things that are, you know, this regular processing, the machinations that are going on are in my mind. I need to
Yeah.
interrupt that process and just kind of break for just a minute,
Hmm.
and then reset, or possibly just take a break from that so I can use that I don't know, that altered state to dedicate to that intention, or the funk. You know, I think we all go through funks now and then, and it's just,
How
you know,
can you
it's just
not?
like,
Sure.
yeah, exactly, and it's just a human thing. And sometimes it's like, man, I just need to break out of that funk. And so with, you know, some breath work, um, you know, you can get into that altered state. I've and the thing is, it's kind of, I don't know, I'd be curious to find out what your experiences have been, because for
Hmm.
me, there might be times, you know, there's been times where you know, I hear angels and I feel like there's light all around, and it's just like,
Hmm.
whoa, you know. And then There's other times when maybe I don't have that kind of sensation. Maybe I have just kind of a connectedness or a oneness kind of a feeling. What are some experiences that you've had?
Those are both great sensations. Well, and we just did I hosted a clubhouse last night for the first time.
Dude, I need to get on that.
Yeah.
It's not for Android yet, so I'm so missing out because of my choice.
FOMO.
I missed. You got two choices pretty much, right? And I chose the wrong one apparently.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you have an iPad around the house,
though, guys.
Yeah. We're gonna do. You got to do a few meetings before you can have a club. But I believe the club name is going to be called Breathwork Makes the Rest Work, and that's kind of nice.
Nice. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. And so I had Ashley on. If you've met her before, she's awesome. And Robert is an instructor in LA, and him on. And so we just kind of answer the most popular questions, and then we let people come on and we let them ask questions. And one of the questions was, this gal came on. She's been doing it for a long time, diligently. Yeah. And she said, I don't feel the sensations that Wim and that he talks about, the tingling and all that stuff. She was like, am I doing it right? That was her question.
Yeah.
And the answer was no, you're not doing it right, because this stuff is mechanical. And so I kind of went over my thing of most of the time what I see when people aren't getting what they want is because they're or getting the things that we're feeling. It's because they're just doing it too slow. They're doing it with their nose. They're doing it too slow. You really got to put some effort into it. And what I've learned lately is thoracic pressure is very interesting. Maybe the most interesting part of it, because you can breathe quite slow. And when you force into your belly and then into your chest, you're creating thoracic pressure while you're breathing. So of course we're creating thoracic pressure when we hold with a full breath, and that's when we see some great things. But if you just force air into your belly first and then to your chest like that, you're creating thoracic pressure all the way up. That's what's happening. And I've noticed that at least for sure, once you start to get sort of the vibrations, once you start to get the vibrating sensations, you can slow your breathing down quite slow and start using that thoracic pressure, and you don't have to breathe quite as fast. So to answer your question, then the things that I've experienced, I really don't. I used to fluctuate a little bit about what the sensations I was feeling, but I don't fluctuate anymore. Now
you get the same thing every time, eh?
I'm very precise about what I need. So if I want to get loopy, then I'll go to the place where getting and I say loopy, but what I mean is you get into a place where I wouldn't be able to snap out of it right away. So I wouldn't want to do that and get right onto a podcast because I'm not very sharp. But it feels really good. And then I get into a place where I see kind of like lava lamp style things with my eyes closed. And then if I can get them to make shapes that are recognizable, and then I can enjoy them and sort of take in a story, then that's a very nice. I think that is the creative space. If you need creative energy, that's a creative space, because things start coming in. If I were to close my eyes and just say the things that I'm seeing, they would make no sense, and it would be like a wild story. And then I'll start, and then if I can see things that make sense, then I start to control them. Then I'll start to like make shapes, purposely try and make shapes. It's hard to do, but then you really like, man, now everything's working the way you want. Yeah. And then if I need to be sharp, then I go more with Wim power breathing style, because that really lights the nervous system up. You drop your CO2 low enough that you just feel the connection to your nervous system. Your nervous system is just like vibrating. You feel a pulse. One of my favorite words lately is cerebrovascular tone. So
that's a pretty cool word.
Isn't that a good word? And what it means too. Everything that means. It's like it's how it's the pattern that the blood is going into your brain. It's like the speed and the pattern. And so the power breathing raises your cerebrovascular tone, and then that's when you're just like you're just sharped up. And so I really like creating protocols for very specific needs. And so that's sort of my goal right now, is to the least amount that I can do to get to the thing that I need. If I need to be sharp, or if I need creative juice or whatever I need, then we try and figure it out.
Now, when you create these protocols, you're talking about speed. You're talking about maybe variations in your technique.
And I don't like to. I don't like to tell people this at first, especially people that just start, because they don't really know what's going on. But you can get the like the high sensation, that really can come at 10 breaths. You can do 10 breaths, take a full breath hold it, lock it in, move your cerebral spinal fluid around, and you can start to get some juice.
Yeah.
So it does take, you got to practice it a little bit. And that's why I think the Wim Hof, the protocol that he came up with, you know, he said he could control his immune system. They said, no way. And then he said, then he proved it. And they were like, well, you got to be able to teach people. And so that was the birth of the Wim Hof method. It was a protocol to teach people how to do what he could do, or control his immune system, control his alchemy, right? To control his physical alchemy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that's what I practice with. I practice with thoracic pressure. I practice with speed. I practice with, you know, in breaths, out breaths, whatever, you know, the least amount I can do in order to do this stuff. 1 round if I can, you know.
That is awesome. So now, how often do you engage in an altered state breathing session? Is it something that, you know, is it something where you might, you know, because as far as shooting for those, you know, the mind explosion, really getting deep into a altered state, is that something that you do on a regular basis? Is this something you save for specific times? What would you
Jesse,
say?
it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
It is pretty fun.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I do. I save a piece of the day every day. So I think about compound interest as far as being like physically healthy, you know, working out and that sort of stuff. So I work out and do breath work the least amount that I need to. So I work out for about 5, 6, 7 minutes a day, and I do the breath work maybe 10 minutes a day. But I just do it every single day.
Well, what I'm asking is not necessarily just breath work in general, right? But specifically altered state. Something specifically is, you know, you got an intention. You're making the decision to really to possibly create DMT, to possibly have that psychedelic experience. Is that something you do daily? Or
it is, and I'll tell you why too. Because I'm really deep into the studies, because I do these Wim Hof breathing classes kind of like twice a month online, and I focus them on something. So if I focus them on cold exposure, I study all the cold exposure studies that I can see that are outside of the method, so I have something unique to contribute to the class.
Right.
And then I also do like the breathwork ones, and I've learned so much about, you know, like what we're learning in these studies that I just like to share it with the class, and it allows me to you know, I do this. I get in the altered state as often as I can to sort of explore and be able to share it.
That's beautiful. That is awesome. And so this is something that like you're teaching, like you do a lot of Wim Hof method breathwork classes. Is it something you can actually, you've got classes that are on the calendar now? People can look you up.
Yeah, totally.
Let's see. I tell you what, send me. I know that your YouTube channel, people can subscribe to that, and then of course I'll put your website and just any information you want me to put in there. But just vocally right now, what is it? Breathfitness.com.
So if you go to breath.fitness, that's my whole website.
Fitness, okay.
Right. And then breath.fitness/classes will be all the classes. I got a bunch of cool stuff coming up. So every Friday I do one locally at those Japanese gardens, which is going to be awesome.
Dude, I'm so jealous. That is so awesome.
So cool. Yeah. And you know, it's not very, because they just sort of reopened up, that it's not very full. It's kind of surprising that we're not completely packed. So, so, you know, I encourage you guys, man, come and join me. It's so weird and wild. You know, after our class is over, the place gets packed. It turns into a zoo, because it's just such a cool place. And so the fact that we can do this anywhere we want to, we just listen to the waterfalls. It's awesome. But I got that going on. And then I have a float state I have coming up. I'm going to do a regular monthly class. This float place has all these, the highest, the newest float, the tanks. So they're very unclaustrophobic. They're very like they're
nice.
gigantic. They even have couples ones. You can get in there with somebody.
Nice.
They have like all this cool stuff. James is the owner. He just really wants to give back to the community, and he does all these great things. They have a salt room that you get in, and they even like pump salt in the air, and there's salt on the ground everywhere. And they're coming up with whatever kind of cool things that you can do. And then we do a full workshop there. We'll do the third Monday of every month now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So third Monday of every month. So every month.
Cool. Yeah.
So regularly, if you're in the area,
that's kind of in the LA area, Riverside County. So I'm in between LA and San Francisco, or in San Diego. So awesome. So that's another local one. Yeah. And then St. Louis in March. And then April will be I'll have in San Diego, I'll have an advanced class I'm excited about for all the people who've been around.
Yes.
And then one more in May, we got in South Carolina. I'll be in Greenville, South Carolina, and I'll be in Charleston, South Carolina. Yeah. Can't wait to go there, man. That's my
awesome.
I was
You're
a
going
college
coast
of Charleston
to coast,
graduate.
my friend. That is really cool. That is awesome.
I'm just using this as an excuse to reconnect with friends and stuff like that. But
that's kind of the coolest part, right? Is being able to meet new people, and then of course, obviously, connect with people you already know and love. So, dude, well, we've been talking for about an hour. This hour has gone by insanely fast.
Totally.
But yeah. So if anybody is in LA, San Diego area, check Miles out. Check him out on the internet too. Check him out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And Miles,
those those classes that we do online, you can go on the Wim Hof site and see them. I do schedule them on the Wim Hof regular main site. You can see them on
Facebook?
There too. Yeah.
Is it in there?
I post them everywhere. They're totally public, and they're super fun because the cold exposure one, for instance, like I'll have a guest here or like Robert join me for one of them to like a more of an expert in some of the things. And then in the cold exposure one, like you can see I have a couple ice baths right here.
That's right. Nice.
Yeah. Class is over. And then we'll hop in the ice bath and even have beers and talk with people and stuff. And so it's, those are super fun. As online classes go, I would guarantee you, I think I can make this guarantee that is the funnest online class that you've ever done. There is no online class like a Wim Hof class and horse dances and screams and ice baths together. It's wild.
Doing that online is that would be a challenge. I've never even tried to do one online. So maybe that's
dude, I'm getting better at it. My title as a virtual ice bath coach is ridiculous.
Ice bath coach. Nice.
But one of my favorite things that has happened so far, I had a friend who didn't have any ice, and you couldn't see in his bathtub either. So everyone is required. Well, I do very small classes because then we can talk it through, and then we sort of applaud each other for stepping out of our comfort zone and doing this, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And so it's his turn. He's in there, and I can't see. You can see the bathtub, and you can see him in the bathtub, but you can't see anything else, right?
Yeah.
And then after the class is over, and we're all still hanging out, he like panned over to his bathtub, and he had taken all the expired vegetables out of his deep freezer and left them in the bag. So his bathtub was covered in these.
It's like you got to get MacGyver on it. You got to really just figure it out and make it happen.
That's right.
Oh man, my wife was for a while. She was getting these. It was like these meals, like the prep meals they prep them for you.
Oh, totally.
And
I love those.
They come with those like really big
ice things
bags.
Yeah.
I would just throw those in the bathtub back before I had a tub like that. I would just be like, okay, all right, I'll just stack them all over me. I'll just see what happens, And so got to get creative.
What's so great about.
Yeah,
that's what's so great about this stuff. You need almost nothing to do this stuff. You know what I mean? It's like. To do the breath work, you don't need music, guys. You don't need anything.
Right. No, and that's the thing. Music is awesome to do with breath work and cold exposure, but there's a certain experience of just being there with your breath, just hearing yourself and getting into that rhythm. You create music on your own, and it just becomes this really deep magical experience. So. I hear you, man. And that's the thing where it's like, I mean, for ages and ages, people have done breath work. And, it's, you don't have to have
since the beginning.
Also, you don't have to have a pulse oximeter. You don't have to have, a lot of these things that are really cool to have, you know, and for those of you guys that are watching this, if you're in my breath mastery class, that next 6-week breath mastery class, tomorrow's week 5.
Amazing.
We're getting into, we're going to be we've been using our pulse oximeter for a lot of different reasons, you know, just learning about your own physiology.
Yeah.
But so that you can kind of tailor your breathwork practice around your own physiology to kind of learn, okay, this is how this works. But you don't, you know, they're great to have. And biofeedback devices like that, you know, they're awesome. But at the end of the day, interception is really, that's the main thing we want to try to work on is really learning to listen to yourself. These devices help. They do help.
No,
but
they do. And I know guys, and people are complaining sometimes like about the Wim Hof app, like started costing money and stuff. Guys, you don't need the app. People are like, what's your app? I use a timer that costs $1 and you don't even need that. If you try and count your 40 breaths on your fingers and then count them on your toes.
You got counters. Exactly.
That's right.
I always, I used to actually, you know, it's been so long since I've done an in-person, I guess it was in July, maybe I did an in-person workshop. So it feels like forever ago.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, I'll show people, hey, we've got, most of us have 10. You know, some of us are going to have to work with fewer or maybe more, I guess. I don't know. But you go one side, right? There's 10. Yeah, and then you count yourself. Oh, no. Oh, there's 20. Oh, great. There's 30. Oh, there's 40. Or how many ever you want to do. And you don't really, because you do get fuzzy when you're doing any kind of super ventilation, right? And Wim Hof method,
yes, you have to keep track. You have to keep track with something. It's very hard to do without counting on your, or for me, but I have memory and focus issues, but you have to keep track on, so I count this. I'll tell the guy, my recipe is, if I don't have a timer, count on the hands. And then I start with the toes. And then I literally try and connect with each toe and wiggle each toe, like 1, 2, 3. And it gives you something to focus on.
I was going to ask, are you doing the one little piggy style or how exactly do you do that? So, okay. So
I try and move it.
You're just wiggling. Okay. Interesting. Now that would take some coordination. Some of those
it's very difficult.
Are really you know, they're kind of dumb, right? It's like I can't do it unless everybody else is doing it, man. So you know,
that's right. It's a fun interceptive exercise to count on your toes and actually try and wiggle each toe. And it's awesome. So then you get through everything. You've done 20 breaths, and then you do it again. And it's that's the only way actually I could keep count, really, and I actually like put my fingers down. I'm like 1, 2, 3 when I'm doing the breath work, because I need some other connection. Otherwise, I'll totally forget what I'm doing, and I'll just do a breath hold and pass out. You know?
Okay. I want to keep going.
I know. Me too.
I know how. Oh, we've got our first comment. I'm actually really surprised. Normally this audience, there'll be like 50 comments in the first 20 minutes. We got a yo.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Connor, nice to have you here, my friend. If you guys have any questions for Miles, you can throw those out there. But yeah, I've been rotting my child's brain with cartoons for about an hour now. So I probably do need to rescue the few brain cells that he has left. And maybe we'll do some math problems together. Because that's
good.
Actually, no. What we're actually going to do instead of that, we're going to go play out in the snow, because this is just an awesome day. And you know, when you're 5, you haven't had a lot of snow days in general, even when you live in the Midwest, right? When you're 5, you can't really remember a whole lot. Today, school's canceled. You know, I remember loving that. You know, school's
it's a celebration.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And you're praying for a snow day when you see the snow out there.
Always it's like, let's make this. You know, you don't want anybody to get hurt, but if there is some kind of an accident that kind of proves, look, nobody needs to be driving in this. You know, you're like, see, the bus will just, it's all the kids are going to die if that bus tries to make it to school today. You know, he's having a really good day, and so we're going to go out and play in the snow and just get this close to frostbite, which is again another thing that all children need to have, especially here in the Midwest. So
you gotta figure out where your line is. Yeah.
You gotta find those things, right? And so when you're that young, you're pretty resilient. So you know.
Oh, you guys are gonna have fun today. Well, awesome. We'll have a wonderful day in the snow. We'll be a little jealous in the sun over here.
I love, now I'm getting all sorts of comments, but Connor, actually Corey, he has, I love this. No breath till Brooklyn. See, I like it. I like
nice.
Well, hey guys, thanks so much for being here. And I want to thank Miles. Miles, I'm going to continue to try to figure out ways for us to get to do stuff like this, or maybe collaborate on a project or something, because it's just too much fun.
Totally.
Talking
Get on Clubhouse and join us. Those Clubhouse is fun. They don't record them. You can kind of get loose, I think.
Yeah, I like getting a little loose.
Yeah, you do, baby. You were getting loose on stage at the hosting that 1,000-person event. That was very impressive.
And
that was
for
a ton of fun.
I'm such a ham, and that maybe that's a Midwesterner term. I don't know. Do they say that out there in the
No, I think that's. I mean, I came from the Midwest, so what do I know? I know all those.
That's true. Actually, I was out there when I was in San Jose. I was at we were having breakfast, and we were at a place, and I want to see if enough of the Midwest is still in your DNA. So I gave her. I had a half a cup of coffee. All right? Okay. And I told the waitress, "Could you warm this up for me?"
Right.
What was I asking her to do?
More coffee.
Yes. You know what she did?
She microwaved it.
She microwaved it. I said no. And I asked everybody at the table, and of course, some of them were Dutch, and so I'm like, okay, you don't count, because I just assume you guys probably don't have this saying over across the ocean. But I turned to everybody else, and I was like, I think like Matthew was there, Chuck was
Matthew
there.
Soul.
And I forget,
those guys.
So I was like, guys, after she walked off with my cup, and I was like, okay, guys, I just asked her to warm it up for me. What did I ask her to do? She's like, and Matt was like, well, if you said that to me, I guess I would take it to the microwave, and he did. I was like, okay.
Oh my God, I was gonna say she's a serial killer for sure.
I'm like, how long have you been in Al Qaeda? Or something. Something's got to be wrong with you. But no, it's apparently, and like, of course, Matt is he's always getting on me for I like to say supper, just because I like saying weird, stupid words a lot of times. Like I'll call someone a sluggard or a ne'er-do-well, and he just assumes it's all of these things, and that's just weird no matter where you are. And he just always assumes that it's the Midwest in me that brings that out. But anyway, I'm going to let you go. I got to save my kid from cartoon brain damage. Cool, guys, hey, thanks so much for being here, guys. And Miles, it's been too long. It's going to happen before a year passes. I think it's been a year since we've got a chance to do this. Yeah,
for sure.
So,
we'll anyway, get together, man. Thank you for all the great, thank you all for all the great work you do and all the stuff that you share. And I know people love it. And the people that come back to me often found me from you. So, awesome. So that's amazing. So, it's just, it's my honor to join you, and I can't wait to do more.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, my friend. You have a good rest of your day. Enjoy your week. Stay in touch.
You, brother.
All right. Brother. I'll see you.
Peace.
Bye.